Hola, bienvenidos amigos, welcome to the Spanish channel, and we're going to get our Grammar Geek on today with Checkpoint 4, all about gender agreements. Don't forget that grammar checkpoints do complement and consolidate your learning from the main course as well. So when we describe a noun in English using an adjective, for example, a big table, a blue phone, a small chair, an intelligent girl, we always start off by using the adjective followed by the noun, whereas in Spanish, as you can see here, un chico guapo, literally a boy handsome, it's the other way around. So we start with the noun, nearly always, followed by the adjective. Un chico feo, an ugly boy. Una chica bonita, meaning, a pretty girl. Una chica fea, an ugly girl. Un piso cómodo, a comfortable flat. Un piso pequeño, a small flat. So we really need to make sure the word order is in place in Spanish before we think about our actual gender agreements. Now we've already learned that nouns in Spanish tend to end in an O, meaning masculine, or an A, meaning feminine. Not all of them do, but it's a general rule of thumb. Now, if you were to describe a boy, so it's singular, there's one, and it's masculine, then you need to make sure your adjectives also agree in gender as far as is possible. So, guapo, meaning handsome, un chico guapo, you've got that agreement with the O's. Feo, ugly. You could say a small boy, un chico pequeño, and so on. But the minute you describe a feminine noun, for example, una chica, a girl, you need to make sure that the adjective you have chosen ends in the correct letter. It needs to show a feminine agreement. So, una chica bonita, a beautiful girl. If I wanted to say an ugly girl, I'm going to say una chica, not feo, because feo would refer to a masculine noun, for example, chico. Una chica fea. So, adjectives ending in an O, generally, that you'll find in a dictionary. If you're describing a feminine noun, you need to change the ending to an A. An O to an A. Unfortunately, not all adjectives end in an O, so it's not quite as straightforward to just change the O to an A if it were describing a feminine noun, for example. So, un dormitorio, a bedroom, elegante, an elegant bedroom, that's fine. You don't need to change that E to an O. Likewise, una cocina, a kitchen, if you wanted to say an elegant kitchen, una cocina eleganta, no. Una cocina elegante. You don't need to change that E to an O or an A. Same for grande, same for the colour azul, ending in an L. Una cocina azul, a blue kitchen. So task 1, I'd like you to write these short structures in Spanish for me. So 1A, a happy boy. Remember our word order in Spanish, it's going to look like a boy happy. A happy girl, a girl happy. And because we're talking about a feminine noun here, we need to make sure that the adjective happy agrees in gender. Okay, I'm going to come back to you shortly with the answers. Buena suerte y listos en 3, 2 y 1. Okay, let's have a look at the answers together. Starting off with 1A, a happy boy. So the first thing you need to do is make sure your word order is correct. Un chico contento. You can use feliz as well, okay? I've just gone with contento to begin with because I think it's a more straightforward adjective, already ends in an O. However, when we change this to the feminine form and we say a happy girl, we're going to need to change the article, una chica, change the O to an A, contenta, or feliz. If you're using feliz, you don't have to change the letter Z to an O or an A. It stays exactly the same as it is, feliz. Okay, so have a look through the rest and correct your work for me. Gracias. Right, my grammar geeks, so we have established word order when we're using nouns and adjectives. We've talked about gender agreements, but what happens if you want to make your noun plural? Well, if we take un chico guapo, a handsome boy, and we want to say some handsome boys, remember our articles, unos, some, chicos, add an S for boys, and then our adjective doesn't just agree with the noun in terms of its gender, but also in terms of number. So we're going to say unos chicos guapos for some handsome boys, or unos chicos feos for some ugly boys. In the same vein, we're going to change our feminine nouns and adjectives, una chica bonita, beautiful girl, to the pluralized form, which will be unas chicas bonitas. As I always say, it's all about the as. Unas chicas feas, and so on. When it comes to adjectives that don't end in an O or an A, elegante, grande, azul, then we are literally going to add an S to the end of the E. But where you have a noun ending in a consonant like an L, we're going to need to add an ES. We've seen this before. Think about the pronunciation. If I just put an S on the end of azul, I'm just going to say azuls. It doesn't sound Spanish. Azules, much nicer. Okay, so using all this information to help, could you now have a go at pluralizing the structures we used earlier? So a happy boy is now some happy boys, some happy girls, and so on. Okay, I'll come back to you shortly. Hasta luego. Y las respuestas en 3, 2, 1. Okay, some happy boys, unos chicos contentos. And look, you've got that really nice pattern of the os to remind you that we're talking about a masculine and plural noun, unos chicos. If you use the adjective feliz ending in a Z, well, you might remember actually when we looked at this in the last grammar point about how to pluralize nouns, a noun that ends in a Z ends up becoming a CES in the plural form. Now, feliz is an adjective, but exactly the same rule occurs here. Okay, felices. Some happy girls. So, unas chicas contentas. Again, all about the as. We've got feminine and plural agreements for each of those words. Have a look through the rest, and I'll come back to you shortly. Now, I said to you that some adjectives, not very convenient, they don't all end in an O, so not quite as straightforward to know what to do with them in the feminine or plural forms. For example, some adjectives will end in an E or ista, a Z. We've seen that with feliz. Or, for example, hablador, meaning talkative, on, mandon, bossy, and in. So this grid should help you. You've seen this grid before, actually. If I were to change an adjective into the plural form to agree with a noun, if the adjective were to end in an O, normally, I'd just add an S, OS. If it ended in an E, ES, and so on. An example up here, a talkative boy. So word order, a boy talkative. Un chico hablador. Now talkative ends in an OR. Have a look on the grid. OR. If I were to say some talkative boys, then the ending for hablador, because it's going to be plural and it's masculine, agreeing with a masculine noun, we just use our rows and columns. So hablador ends in OR, that's singular, it's masculine. Habladores, plural. Likewise, a talkative girl, habladora. Girls, talkative girls, habladoras. Okay, so that's how you're going to use that grid. So could you please complete for me how to say those structures in Spanish? Gracias. Y vamos a continuar en 3, 2, 1. Okay, here are our answers. So a talkative boy, un chico hablador. So that's a new adjective for us. It also ends in an OR. So we just need to be checking with this row now. So to say a talkative girl, una chica hablador, feminine, ora. Okay? And some talkative boys, again, we need to look at our endings here. So we are talking about masculine now and plural. So masculine, plural. This is our column. Habladores, okay? Unos chicos habladores. And likewise with some talkative girls, we're going to use the feminine column and it's plural. So we're going to be using this ending. Unas chicas habladoras. And you use exactly the same principle with mandon. Bossy. Okay, so we're going to use that row. Have a look through your answers, see how you got on. Right, that's it for today, my grammar geeks and goonies. Next time we're going to be looking at checkpoint 5, which is all to do with the present tense and regular verbs in particular. So until then, hasta luego, adios.